So, welcome to the Natural Balance Masterclass. I believe this is number 5. And to start this off, I feel inspired. Like right at the beginning of this, I was reading a letter that my mother wrote to me. And she had like this prayer that was attached to the letter. And I don't feel inspiration around reading the prayer, but I do feel inspiration around reading my mother's words and sharing that, and sharing a piece of my mother's heart with your soul. So that's how this is going to start, and I'll begin that now. So the letter is dated November 3rd, 2023. And she wrote this. So she wrote, but he knoweth the way that I take. When he hath tried me, I shall come forth as gold. Job 23:10. And this is now her talking. This Bible verse tells me the Lord knows everything and is cleansing us daily so we can be his children. Keep on keeping on! Exclamation point. Friday morning, 5 a.m. Dad has left for work till 9 a.m. We were both very tired as yesterday all day at Homer and Jolene for Lena's wedding. It was very beautiful and a sunny 50. And the day before we had a white layer of fresh snow, also very pretty. The Lord is so good to us. So I'm reading it exactly as my mother wrote it. So it's like choppy, it's distorted, it's not perfect English, and I'm gonna keep reading it as she wrote it. Sister Amanda and Perry. So this is my mom's sister, called Amanda, had traveled here too. So Wednesday evening we had gone to Junior and Jane for supper, as that's where they were staying. We'll travel back home today now. This coming Monday is the oldest grandson's B-day. Dennis will be 12 years old. Dennis is my oldest nephew and my mom's oldest grandson, named after my brother Dennis, and his other grandfather is also called Dennis. So he's turning 12 years old. Actually, he's 12 now. This already happened. Seems longer though. There are 4 grandchildren that have birthdays in November. Gary and Geneva, that's my brother and his wife, have their home for sale in hopes of buying the right one beside mom and her grandparents. We'll need to see if it's the Lord will or if it's his leading. Today I want to do laundry, baked bread, and granola. Need to have 10 loaves to take for church on Sunday. We exchange. Also have some errands to run and should go to bank. I so wish I could come with Lyle. Just slip into the suitcase, but Dad does not want me to, so I want to listen. We'll sign for today. Love you always, Mom. So that was a letter from my mother, and I know there's a reason I shared it. I don't know exactly why I shared it. If I were to know why I shared it, it would be to bring that nurturing, to bring that safety, to bring that comforting energy of a divine feminine into this space, with all the crazy and the chaos and all wrapped up into compassion and the nurture and the womb. And that's how I see this natural balance class tonight, is a place of safety, a place of womb, a place to self-express authentically and be held while doing so. So with that, I'm opening up the space for anything that you would like to share. So I'm literally being present with you, for you to share what's wrong, what's right, like how has your life literally been like blowing up? Like this is like so not purpose. And how has your life been like aligned? Like, holy wow, like just miracles, like this is on purpose. Like I see what I haven't seen before, and I see it now. And so right now is the space to share anything. Who would like to share?
Thank you, Neal. That letter was beautiful.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I need to hear keep on keeping on. I did. It sounds like your family's um, very connected, very supportive, very transparent, very authentic. You can rely on them and you can communicate with them. And I love that. I'm envious of that. I would say my life is chaos, but I don't want it. It's been a lot worse, you know. And I know it's been done for me. That's a good thing to learn these lessons, learn these behaviors, these dysfunctional behaviors that have been surrounded me for so long. And I'm part of it.
You're muted.
You just got muted, Annette.
Yep.
It was done for me because I know who I am. And I don't get triggered, I get sad. I know I'm not alone, but the people that surround me don't understand. And I understand they don't because I've been there. So there's no judgment. It's just sadness that they can't see me for who I am now. They don't. I've done a lot of work, a lot of healing. There's still sadness because they don't see me. Keep on keeping on. I love that. That's what I need to hear. There are families that really communicate with love, listen, active listening, writing letters. That's beautiful. I just cleaned out. I'm trying to find some paperwork, and I just cleaned out my father's and my stepmom's pictures and letters that I wrote them when I was little. My sisters and all the letters we used to write back in way in the day. But there were some good memories. But thank you. That was so beautiful, and I appreciated that.
You're welcome.
Okay, I just wanted to read that Job passage again, which I just did. Thank you. The first thing that came when you read was what a blessing you are in my life, because I miss my son. And it feels, I don't think I play a role of your mother, and you don't really play a role of my son, but just the fact that you care and you want to hold space. It is meeting a certain need. Soul is the age of one of my grandchildren, and I want to be with them pretty badly. So, I have such love and support in this community. It doesn't always feel like that's what's coming at me, but it is actually the truth. And so, I get to be with you. You get to be with me. You could be my son. You could be my grandson probably, but you could be my son for sure. And anyway, that was the first thing that came. And the second thing that came was the sweetness of the offer today at the table, and that there was kind of a bloody brawl, brouhaha, and it was because in this community they were learning to or inviting the feminine, and the way John characterizes the feminine, which is also the way it is characterized. I think it's in the Taoist tradition, is that the feminine is chaos, masculine is peace. I happen to see it slightly differently, but on the other hand, what he makes the point, you're resisting the chaos, you're resisting the crazy. So it's like I've got to sort of embrace that as aspect of it. But what came to me at one point was that peace is the father, peace is the underlying oneness, and love is actually it has an energy of I want something. And so the feminine to me is that it's the I want something. It's the and of course we're both masculine and feminine, but so and peace is at the core of the feminine, that is this never enough, because we haven't learned to accept the present of the present. And once we get clear that the gift is constant, it's love is always available, and it's we are held in peace by the masculine, that this thing that we've been looking for is, just ever available. Just can you love the peace? Yes, I can love the peace. If I could love the peace, then I'm fulfilled. And then in the core of the masculine is this love thing, is this yearning. So we can call it chaos, we can call it crazy, we can call it dissatisfaction, because that's like I'm yearning after something. I'm not. Anyway, I don't know if all that is true or not, but that's what came to me. So the space of what came at the table was there was like at least 4 or 5 of us that were very emotional, because we didn't feel like we had a safe place to just freaking be feminine energy, chaos, vent, complain that things weren't right. It just has felt like, and I guess it's where the culture is shifting, but it has felt like you better show up at the table, because it feels like you're getting pounced on. What you're really getting is a mirror, and a lot of times there's no pounce energy attached to it, but that's not how it feels when you're feeling extremely vulnerable and you pop something out, and then you get like corrected, you get some kind of pop, it feels to me like an attack, and I know that's not actually what the intention is at all. And I can also have it pointed out, do you see that I'm carrying any of this attack energy? It's like, no, you're not, but I am feeling attacked. So that's all I can say. And because I'm having that, so to have a space that Neal offered, especially in the tail of that brought me to tears, that you care enough to say, go ahead and just be your messy self. And in the piecework circles lately, Dave was that one, I think it was yesterday, we have that space where just bring it. And not only is you bringing it okay for you to bring it, it's like a gift to the rest of us. You're touching into something that is so deep down and so valuable, and it's not easy and it's not comfortable. And so to have, a very specific invitation to bring that forward, especially in our community right now, is just really, really meaningful to me. So that's what for me. Thank you, Neal. Hi, Dave. Just a little sloppy snot thing going on. Enjoy yourself.
You're welcome. Are you complete, or do you want to share more, Noel? I take it the thumbs up is complete. Welcome, Dave.
Oh, hi. Just dropping in to see what's going on.
Yes. Currently we're so I started off with reading a letter that my mother wrote to me. And it was a letter from 2 months ago, and I hadn't read it yet. But I felt called to share it today, and so I read it, and then after the fact, I opened up the space for sharing and this is a share of, all right, so where's your life like completely derailed, like it's like not on purpose, like the shit hit the fan, like so off purpose. And then also potentially it might be a share of where you're like aligned with purpose, like holy crap, there's like miracles happening. This gorgeous opportunity just came into my life, like these people, and or anything as general or specific as you want to share. So we're literally in a inquiry of sharing whatever you want to share right now. And that was the thing that Noel was just acknowledging was the space, the opportunity for to have that. So that's where we're at right now.
Did everybody else already share?
I haven't shared. I've shared some. And but Annette and Noel have shared, and I'm actually going to share right now because I got a piece from Noel that I want to speak to. And
Go ahead, and then I'll follow.
that was like distorted. Like I just heard like the last part of it. Can you say that again?
No, I just said go ahead, and I'll follow after you.
Epic, awesome. Yeah. So like, you spoke to something, Noel, which was like this yearning for God, like this. Well, actually, you didn't say for God, but you spoke to how there's this yearning. And my journey has been like literally I've been yearning for I don't even like most of my life. Like 7/8, 90% of my life I've been yearning for something because I felt like an emptiness within me. And I didn't know what it was. Like I had family, I had pets, I had like vehicles, like I had a home, I had a garden, and like there was this like just it didn't feel enough, it didn't feel fulfilled, and I didn't know what that thing was. And what I discovered that it was a yearning for God, a yearning for surrender. Because I've been during that whole time when I was yearning for something, I was like controlling everything. Like I literally was like I was the dictator of my own life, and that might I think it's an upgrade from being a victim. Like I definitely see that as being a positive movement, but it's not the destination. And that's what I discovered. Like when I was in it, like I was like, wow, I got all these things, and I have family, and but like I'm not able to speak. Like I literally was in a space where I wasn't able to communicate to people what my internal experience was. So like I would feel these things and I would have these revelations and experience like oneness, and then I'd be like, we're all one, and they're going, what what the fuck are you talking about? And but it was this inability to convey what was going on inside of me, and the shifts and the changes that were happening. And they were exponential shifts and changes. Like one day I was like Neal, this all these programs from my upbringing, and the next day I was like, I don't think I'm this anymore. I don't know what I am exactly, but I'm not this. And how do you communicate that? And the only thing that filled that void, that filled that space inside of me, was when I surrendered my life and I gave it to God. And that led me on a road to uh, then surrendering my life to Jesus, because I was like resistant to Jesus, honestly, like because that was like the Christian upbringing, and like I acknowledged God. I always knew there was a God, but then when it and I also had like a semi resistance to like baptism. I was like, if you're surrendered to God, why do you need to do this thing just to have that acknowledged by people? Like I'm not here for to be acknowledged by people. I'm here to for God. And but then what happened was when I surrendered to God, it basically was like obvious, like obviously you're going to get baptized because it's all spiritual. It happens within first, and then it shows up in the physical. So now what the baptism is to me is the physical representation of the surrender that you've already done before the baptism. And it's shifted everything for me, and I feel like fulfilled now, and literally like I'm ready to die right now. And I said that to Christy once, and she goes, well, are you ready to live right now? And that was a shift. And because like, yes, I get it. Like, I feel fulfilled within my being, but the reality is I'm still here. And I'm not only not dead, I'm actually fully alive. And because of that, this is telling me and demonstrating to me that God has purpose for my life. And what my intuition is telling me, and is that that purpose is to be a contribution to other people, to um now that you've filled this within you, now just give that to people. That's where I'm at currently. Like, I feel on purpose, and I have not felt that way literally a month ago. Like, I felt off purpose. I felt I didn't know what was going on. I felt I didn't feel depressed, but I felt like apathetic. Like, I didn't want to do anything. Like, I felt just like I didn't care. And it was like I didn't care to contribute to people. Um and now I do. So something shifted. I don't know what shifted, but I know something has, and that's where I'm at. That's my share. Go ahead, Dave.
Yeah, I see that. And I think the transformation is your arrival and finding a role in the village. And that's your contribution. I see that when I was there, that your giving of your talents, your passion for the greenhouse for growing things definitely comes out on a daily basis there. And that's a huge value that you're offering. So yeah, I'm giving you a thumbs up on that. Um, it's interesting because I'm old and I've gone through a huge journey of kind of chasing shadows. And my parents were born again Christian when I was a teenager. They were Catholics and they shifted to a Baptist church. And as a teenager, I really wasn't. I kind of drifted away. I was like, this church stuff is kind of getting crazy. I was in the mode then of the world, which was at the time all about sex, drugs, and rock and roll. So I wanted to party with my friends, get drunk, smoke pot, and chase girls and stuff. And but I remember my mother telling me that, oh, you need. This is when I was in my 20s now, and I've always been a person really tied to nature. I've always been an outdoors person. I was a Boy Scout in my teenage years. So I told my mother, I said, nature is my church. And that's really been kind of my foundation all along. Instead of going to church, I go out for hikes. I do adventures, I do wilderness camping, all that kind of stuff. But really lacked, I think, that total connection. And that's really something that's kind of come around recent where, through Jonathan, through the reading his book really was the catalyst for me. And seeing the Bible verses, the messaging in a new light and really feeling it. Whereas before it was just words and not making a connection and kind of breaking through the veil and actually now being able to see what those words meant, the whole sense of God is, I am, and the fact that the kingdom of God is within, just kind of really kind of landed in the last couple of years. And I've had some moments of great manifesting. I actually I had a magazine for 5 years. It was called Eco Local Living, kind of promoting locally made, locally grown, local independent business. I did it for 5 years, but I got burned out and exhausted. It was a print magazine. I did everything. I was the writer. I was the photographer. I was the distributor. I was the salesperson. It was just way too much, and print was dying. And I also at the same time I did a deep dive in tax truth and realized I was a sovereign being and not a tax slave. So I stopped paying the IRS and I didn't pay taxes for 5 years. And I got a knock on the door from an IRS agent one day. And I said, how can I help you? She's like, well, I want you to pay your taxes. I go, that's nice, but I'm a non-taxpayer. I'm a legal non-taxpayer. Well, you have wages and stuff. I go, no, I don't. I don't have any of that. Anyway, that collapsed my business though, because I had to become a full-time tax accountant and rescue myself from their attacks. So anyway, it's been this big long journey, and now I feel like having gone through all this, I'm trying to find my contribution, here at the Earth Waking Village with the Visionary Program, and I've always been one sort of an observer and watching, and I've been watching for 2 years now the Visionary Program, but I'm deciding to plug in a lot more. It's why I'm coming into these little meetings and whatnot a lot more than I was in the past, just to kind of see, what the flow is like and how I can contribute. So I'm trying to get to that point now where I can be a contribution to you guys, as well as even here in my local community. I'm in a conundrum now. Should I stay or should I go? Should I stay in the US? I've been down to Costa Rica, a couple weeks ago. Totally enchanted. I got an offer from the Airbnb we were staying at. George, basically he's looking to retire, and he's like, "Hey, you want to buy this? I can sell it to you." I'm like, "Oh my God, it's 5 minutes walk to earthquaking. That could be something." Run an Airbnb. It's got 6 acres. He's actually got a little plot of land there that could handle another little cabina, as well as a garden. He's actually got a cool garden up there already, a wild, it's a jungle garden in Costa Rica. So he's got palm trees, he's got avocados, he's got mangoes all over the place. Pretty cool. Yeah, as it is in Earthquaking Village. It's just this natural jungle environment. So anyway, we're just trying to deal with all that. It's difficult because it's far away, in a plane ticket and a car rental and everything else away. So we're just trying to feel what is best for us here. I live in upstate New York. It's getting cold. We're going into winter. Like I just saw snow up in elevation today. So anyway, just trying to find my contribution, trying to find where I can land. So I'm trying to find clarity, where it's going to be. Is it going to be locally, or is it going to be just cut and run and go to Costa Rica? So kind of like what Jonathan did with the group down there, was just being called to establish a new community in a new country because of its basis as a food oasis and a freedom-oriented place. They have no military. They don't waste their money on stupid stuff like that. And the USA is screwed. It's going to collapse. There's one part of me wants to, stand and fight and say, hey, I'm an American, and damn it, I'm a free man, and this is worth saving. On the other hand, it's like, it's too far gone. Get the hell out and run to a sanctuary such as Costa Rica. So anyway, that's where I'm at in all this, trying to find the clarity in the weeks ahead to apply that direction and be a contribution. So does it help?
Yes, thank you for sharing.
And also, I would also kudos to Noel on Sunday. That was a great little meeting there. Hour and a half, really flowed really quickly, and some just organic sharing and being before the earth waking sermon there that Jonathan did. So thank you for holding that space, Noel.
You're welcome. It is definitely a joy for me.
So let's talk about purpose. What about purpose? Well, there's multiple aspects of purpose, but there's 2 aspects that I'm going to speak to right now. And the first aspect of purpose is when we listen to our ego. So it's the ego purpose. It's the purpose of controlling and manipulating everything. Our thoughts, our emotions, our environment, other people, where we live, our perceptions, our expectations, ego purpose. And then there's God purpose, which is surrender, and it's allowing, and it's being used, and it's listening. It's deep listening. It's being in the quiet and hearing something speak that, and maybe you don't even hear it speak, but the direction. It's God purpose is a knowing. It's like you don't question. Your ego might question it, but the thing that's being conveyed is just like, we're going straight, or we're going right. Like, it's very clear. So I'd like to open up of what it looks like when we're not in God purpose and when we're in ego purpose. And I'll start by sharing, like, what it looked like for me was that I had a job, I had a home, I had vehicles, and I was smoking a lot of weed. I was using psychedelics. I had all the food I wanted. I had a well in my front yard. I had all the water I wanted. What else? I had food growing, so all of my egoic pleasures were met. Like I literally didn't want like. Oh, another thing was I was watching porn at the time and using pornography, and I would also interact with women at the same time as using pornography, not at the same time, but in the same time frame. Um, so like I had sex, I had drugs, I had food, I had water, I had a home, I had family, I had connection, and I felt empty. So all these pleasurable things were being fulfilled in my life, and then what? And then there was just that, and there wasn't like a purpose. There wasn't fulfillment. Like I literally thought my purpose was to become the best version of myself to save the world from self-destructing. That was literally my ego's purpose. So that's what it looked like for me. And um, I was like super controlling. And I also didn't like being around family at that time because of my controlling nature. I rather than allowing them to be, I would need to change them. So like they would communicate and I'd be like, oh well, and some of it was discernment, but at that time my discernment was heavily laced with judgment. And at that time, like I was judgmental also of everything, not of just some things, like everything. I was literally every moment was being judged at that point in my life. And so that was listening to my ego. That was fulfilling my ego purpose. And I want to open this up to hear what that looked like for you. Who's first?
I guess I'll chime in there. Neal, the I can relate to some of that because I got red pilled, a bunch of years ago, and like you're saying, the judgment came through because I was calling bullshit on everything. I mentioned the tax thing, and that was just one of the many rabbit holes. And I found though that, and it's still to this day, I've been alienated family members. My wife has two children; they don't talk to us anymore, but they've gone totally down the woke path of being super liberal. And my stepdaughter there claimed, this was like a year ago or so, she claimed that I'm a communist. I'm like, whoa, for real? I know you've been kind of a crazy leftist, but a communist? So, and that's her mindset. So here I'm, a Mr. Libertarian, a sovereign, and calling bullshit on everything. So it's called friction. I have a brother who he even said to me that you got to watch yourself because you are alienating yourself from the family. I'm like, what? He didn't realize that I have two other siblings that we have a communication on a signal channel that we're red pilling each other with, videos and text and substacks. They were sharing amongst each other. But yeah, there's a tendency to alienate people coming from the ego because you think you're right and you're coming in strong with this new knowledge and the red pill sort of sense of truth. But it's not coming from love, really. It's just coming from this egoic, I know this now, so I'm calling bullshit on everything. So trying to flip that to really just come forward really from love and listen more than project outward, that I know all this stuff about the matrix and, the deep state and everything else. Because here's the thing, I mean, we can't control any of that stuff. We have no control over the deep state, over any of the evil that's going on out there. What we can control is within our arm's length in our relationships with, friends and family. So it's more or less coming full circle to knowing all that stuff, but not projecting it outwards as this sort of harsh thing. But hey, I'm coming from love. I'm coming from a sense of peace, and I find that to be more of a better thing to share than how the world sucks. And more importantly, what can I do personally to make my life better, and like I said before, become a contribution, so others, even a small circle of people can share that love and that new direction of the new earth. So that's kind of my new flip, is to, instead of like barking about how everything's bad, that's the ego, barking, not barking, but welcoming what's good and what is love and what is pure and what are the goals of community. So I have this goal to be part of a community, either as a new one up here, or much like what you guys have down there, but be a contribution, be to share my vision of love and peace and joy that I now am centering around, and not so much that egoic know-it-all, and coming from more of an anger kind of a thing, that you see what's wrong in the world. I want to go see what's right in the world, and how we can become be the change, as Gandhi would say, that you want to see in the world. Just be that change and focus on that, and that will be a better use of energy than just trying to satisfy ego with that I'm right all the time. And you're an idiot because you don't know what you're talking about. I know what's right because I've done the deep dives, and it's ugly when you do those deep dives. It's very ugly, but I'm tired of looking down those holes, and I'd rather look up or look in to the God within and find solutions. So it's about that emphasis now, instead of the ego trying to prove itself as being the truth, whereas God is the truth, and we can project that outward and have far better success than just pointing out all the bad stuff. So that's my share.
Thank you.
Would you just put in a nutshell what it is we're doing again? We're talking about the ego purpose that we had for ourselves at some point, and what that.
Yeah, well, yes, you could call it ego purpose, but I think it's actually like the opposite of purpose.
Right.
I think it's just like listening to the ego. So like, what was that experience like? And sharing like how it looked like when you were off purpose. And I'm calling that like listening to the ego, or yeah, that's the share.
All right, I will go. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I am, in the throes, still in the midst of uncovering all the things that I have been, lying to myself about, that were because my ego and my like they talk about the ideal self, the real self, and the true self. Well, my ideal self, there's a baby in the bathwater, and that's my true self. There was things that attracted me, that I was going about all in this egoic way, which really is to be helpful, and see somebody suffering, let me do all I can to make their life better, and just hero, and literally seeing the you could call it fruits, but really the devastation involved with going along with somebody's idea, or even fostering the idea that a person can't take care of themselves in some way, so they need me. And that really literally has contributed to people's deaths. It's contributed because I was a full-on hero for decades, and an unpaid social worker, and it's a damn nice thing that I wasn't paid. at least I wasn't paid. But and so it's a little hard separating out things that really might have some kind of value, that actually is real, and when you say a person is sovereign, yeah, I mean, we're all sovereign. And like, until I went to Awaken Life Live, I didn't know any of this shit. So much of my life just came like, oh, the light went on, I saw it. I didn't see it until then. So it wasn't, it was just like, forgive them, Father, they know not what they do. I just simply didn't know what I was doing. And I feel like, is it heroing to sometimes, you know, come from, this is where I authentically am, and I'm not sure if this is heroing you or if this is, me shining a light on something that is you might benefit from seeing. So I mean, I'm still trying to sort out what is ego in me and what is dysfunction. So anyway, but the way the ego showed up was all of that, just doing a lot for, like, literally a dear friend of mine who sits in a nursing home at this point in time. We used to take long walks together. And over the years, and I was like, how is it that he kept getting spiritually more savvy, and he kept getting, like, just wiser and wiser, and his life situation kept getting more and more fucked up and more. It was like he lived in a tomb and the walls were closing in on him. It's like, how is it that I'm doing all this stuff for you all these years and you're not getting better? That's horrifying. And on the biggest scale, because I have spent time in mental hospitals, maggot messiah. So I, usually, like, I was feeling like a maggot in my life all the time, just beating myself up and literally just cursing myself out in my mind 24/7. I could not have a moment of respite from abusing myself. And then you live like that long enough, you will crack. And then when I cracked, I kind of went into this other realm, and it was so loving and so beautiful. That is actually when I started believing in God, because I had not up to that point. Because it was so beautiful that I said, it's there's no word big enough for this, so I'll call it God. And but the thing with that was I took it so far to an extreme that it really became my job to save the world, and I'm a savior, I'm going to do this and that, because it was I came like a rubber band pulls you back this far and then you shoot forward. So I shot forward into these messianic identities, including Jesus Christ female counterpart, the Holy Spirit, Eve for a little while, but they didn't catch me that time, and and Satan redeemed. Those were the characters that I played, and I really got to embody what that might be like, because I was just in an altered state of consciousness, and I got to be that way. So and in the midst of that, ego and something else, it was like marbled in with this absolute change of perception. That was There was consciousness about things. Once I came back to sanity, I can't get anymore, but I knew I had been all, like, here's the Akash, just wander through it for a minute. Here's all of the energy dynamics. Here's the, just like, just sitting there going, okay, and then once they gave me enough Thorazine and made it, want to get out of this hospital, eventually I sort of reconfigured. And anyway, that story could go on a while, but that's enough of me for now. Thank you.
I got a question. When you were like would you have called it channeling, or would you have called it embodying like those beings that you were embodying?
I felt I was them. I don't know what you'd call that. I really,
I would
really
call
believe.
that embodying them.
Yeah, that's what I use, that word. Yes. So I would call that.
So in that experience, like, where was Noelle at? And you can pick any, like, just pick one of them. So maybe not all of them together, but just in one of the experience when you were the thing. Was Noelle like present or conscious during that time?
Yeah, I was. I was finally held. I was held by something that just absolutely, even when I was Satan redeemed, and God was well pleased with me, because every knee was bent in supplication to him, because I had done my task so well that people were begging in their hearts, please God, come, just get me out of this hellhole. So I was held. So Noelle was held, and it was like all of that suffering that you've endured, it had a purpose. This is it. God bless you for being the character in this story you are.
So then now when you come out of that character and you're Noelle again, I don't know, you said you went to the hospital or whatever, and then you came out. were you still held at that time, or what was the experience like after you let go of these things?
Yeah, and you can almost see me doing it in the village where I'm strong for a period and then I just retreat into this weakness. And then I'm strong for a period and like you could see me doing this vacillation here. I'm seeing it. It's at least it's getting faster and faster. But when I got out the first time, I was like, all I knew I was Jesus Christ female counterpart. I was so loved and cherished during that spell. And when I got out and they said, you were schizophrenic, here's your Thorazine, take it for the rest of your life. You got brain rot. I was like, oh, of course. I thought God loved me. What a moron, and so but after a while, I was abusing myself again and I broke again. It's like, you know what? I'm having a lot better time nuts than I am, uh, so I think I'll be okay. And that's when I decided, I'm not going to call it nuts because it's better than anything I had been doing previously.
Thank you for sharing.
You're welcome.
Do you want to share more, or is that complete?
I feel complete. I do.
Annette, would you like to share what it looked like when you were not on purpose and when you were listening to the ego and fulfilling all the pleasurable desires?
I can identify or connect with everyone's shares. Yeah, before 2008, I had my career and friends and vacations and parties and house and drinking and boyfriends and all the egotistical stuff. And I just felt a little like something was just a little, I was happy. I mean, working out, going to the gym, going to social events. I mean, I just thought something was missing. I thought it was a husband and a child or children, my own family. That's what I thought it was, you know. And I got experience, a love experience you can explain. I'm sure y'all have, some here have experienced that. It was spontaneous kind of thing, and I knew there was something more. Of course, people thought I was crazy. I tried to share it with people I knew. In those circles back then, you didn't talk about those things. These circles is fine. I mean, they understand these kind of feelings. But yeah, and then I thought I was something special. And so I started going down rabbit holes, like Dave was saying. I was starting, what was that? How can I get back there? Well, I didn't want to come back. Did not want to come back. I asked to stay. I was told it wasn't time. I understand at another level I created that. I don't understand it at all, but I do understand it better than I back then. I did create that. My soul was calling me, to wake up. And that's what it took. So I did. I mean, I was asking questions, but it was ego, you know, and something entered me. I like to say it was I was considered sane, even though I was insane. I was sane according to the programming. I mean, I never took a pill. I never had a mental issue, never been to a psychologist. I knew it all, right? I was successful. There was nothing missing. And so something, a presence, an energy entered me. I used to say a possession. Well, it's weird, but now that I've grown, it was a manipulation of energy. It's energy, dark energy. I wasn't asking God, I was asking my ego. So I lost all of it. Yeah, I was institutionalized. That was in 2008. I can't count the number of times. And everybody threw me away. I was a hero. I was fine as long as I was serving them. But as soon as I couldn't do what I used to do for people, I was nothing. I lost everything. I gave everything for nothing. And I still sit here and struggle financially. But anyhow, yeah, I was perfectly considered normal. Then institutions and mental institutions, and I don't do that anymore. I don't take pills. I don't. On the good side, I know I had to go through all that. I'm not being a victim anymore. But I don't take any pills, any psych pills. Diseases have gone away that I had. I'm perfectly healthy body. Emotionally, I am doing so much better. And I'm like, I know I'm to serve. I know I have purpose. If I didn't have a purpose and mission like you, Neal, I'm ready to go. You know, I'm ready to go. So why am I creating these still obstacles? Because there's things I want to do to serve. God has sent me ideas, intuition ideas, what I am to do. But here I am again, not with a home, no privacy. I can't get all these different things to do what I know intuitively, what God has sent me to do. I'm still doing this, you know, look down on me. I'm still look the family and friends. I'm still pouring that, don't know what she's doing after all those years. I was a successful one. I made the most money. I organized everything. I helped them. I was just being used, being a hero, being nothing. But still they're looking down on me. And that's okay, because I know who I am. So like you, Dave, like you mentioned, and you, Neal, and Noel, your purpose, fulfilling that, coming into that and God arranging that. I know that's where I'm at. And I know why I'm here. The only reason why I'm here. No, it wasn't for all those things your ego wants, all those things to distract you from who you really are. If that was taken away, I've been hungry. I've been cold. I've been without a home. I've been without all those things. And I had all those things work very hard for him. And I got the totally flip side to wake me up. So I appreciate that. 'Cause I'm not coming back. I guarantee that. Thank you.
You're welcome. Is that complete for you? Okay. I got an alarm that's going off. I'm gonna turn it off and then I'll be here. The alarm is for 5:55. I don't even know why I have it set, but 5:55 is a sign of big change, great change, positive change. Something in your life is changing for the better. I want to do an exercise. This is going to be a quick exercise because we have 5 minutes left. And the exercise is we're going to take 1 minute and just make a list of words that describe being on purpose. And then we'll share that in popcorn style. But for right now, the exercise is for 1 minute. Just write down as many words as you can think of that point towards being on purpose. So you'll want a pen and paper. It's 5:56 and it just turned that, so we'll go till 5:57. You've got 1 minute. And all words describing being on purpose. Go. Time. All right, wherever you're at, that's perfect. So now for like the next minute, let's just do this like popcorn style. You can just unmute yourself and just share the words that you wrote. And we can interrupt each other. We don't need to be mindful of who's talking when. Let's just speak the words we spoke in a popcorn style manner, starting now. Allowing,
Love,
present,
home,
receiving,
Driven,
giving,
guided,
aligned,
designed, confident,
grace,
fulfillment,
Heaven on earth.
authentic,
goal-oriented,
love,
inspiration,
peace,
contributing,
celebration,
friendly,
connection,
happy,
community,
fun,
time.
pleasure.
All right, that's the exercise.
Well done, Neal. That was cool.
Thank you. I received it. So now in this space, the homework for this following week is like just noticing, okay, so we wrote these words that are pointing us towards being on purpose. And I imagine you've heard some words that maybe you didn't write. So it might be a good idea to write them. Maybe you just memorize them. I don't know. But the homework is to notice when these words show up in your life this week, when you're actually on purpose. And so just noticing when you're on purpose, maybe making a note, maybe writing something on your phone so you have a reminder, and then coming back this following week to share how you've lived a purposeful life in this upcoming week. So that's the homework. We're at 5:59. Thank you, Jalov Dave, for being here. I love the name. I love you. Thank you, Noel, for being here. Thank you, Annette, for being here. This concludes this class. I love you and good night.
Neal, beautiful class. Didn't even feel like sleeping 1 minute.
Oh, thank you, Neal.
That was
It's
amazing.
wonderful, beautiful.
Thank you.
Appreciate you for doing it.
You're welcome. Bye.